Hey mathematicians, very excited for you guys to begin Justice by Mathematics today. I was on a bus from Paris to Frankfurt early in the morning. I started thinking about one mathematical topic. There was a sign in the bus that showed the temperature in Celsius. And the temperature was 14 degrees, and I started thinking about that and wondering what it was in Fahrenheit. And so one thing that's interesting about the conversion is you take the Celsius and you do 9/5 or 1.8, multiply that by Celsius, and then you add 32 degrees. And I found that this was really annoying and frustrating. So I came up with a shorter method that's not quite as accurate, but it's kind of a rule of thumb that gets you within about 4 or 5 degrees of the correct answer, but is a lot easier to do in your head. So my challenge for all of you is to try to figure out, see if you can come up with a rule of thumb that gets you close to the right amount of degrees without using the 9/5 or 1.8 plus 32. And see if you can come up with a conversion the other way to go from Fahrenheit back to Celsius as well. And some of you might be thinking to yourselves, what is, air temperature, room temperature, that kind of thing, weather have to do with justice? Well, it actually has a lot to do with justice on several different levels. Some of you may know that in certain homeless shelters in different cities, they have emergency shelters that are available only when the temperature goes below a certain point. So even just a matter of a couple degrees can make a huge impact on people's lives in that city. Secondly, air temperature has been one of the primary metrics which scientists have used to try to determine what's happening with our climate. Is there global climate change? What's going on with that? Which then has implications for political events, for businesses, and even for international politics. So it has a lot to do there. You also might know that it has a lot to do with business ideas and innovation. So Ben & Jerry's ice cream company, when they were first trying to figure out where they were going to be located, they looked at the temperatures, average temperatures in different places in America, and they looked at places that were over a certain temperature and then used that to look at, okay, do we want to go there? But they found out that every place over a certain temperature, when it's hot enough, actually there were already ice cream places. So then they decided to go the opposite direction, and they went to Burlington, Vermont, which is not a very warm place, and then they built their business there. And they actually seized the idea of having a cold ice cream company so that when the colder it got, they would actually have discounts off their ice cream. So every 1 degree or 5 degrees, they would give 10 cents off their ice cream. So one other way in which air temperature can really affect a justice item is actually with injustice. So crime actually changes based on the air temperature. And so both in different regions and also over the course of the year, you'll see different crimes happening at different rates based on the air temperature. All to say, has a lot to do with justice, has a lot to do with that. So I'm very excited to see you guys next week. Have a wonderful week exploring the beginnings of how math and numbers affect justice and important issues across the world. And do try to figure out the challenge of coming up with an easier rule of thumb to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Much love from the Frankfurt Airport. This is Mr. Beckett signing off.